to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now. So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subtitle som kere konsolbabba konsolfelina. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let's get it started. Indeed, another new week here at Wanna Bet. I'm just making sure we tweeted out the link. All right. I'm Jason. Let's see if I can do this right. That's Ben. That's EK. Hope we're not on too much of a delay.
Can
that
I
is
ask
a
a
Monday.
quick question?
You can try.
The song,
yes.
the song that I now sing in the shower as I'm soaping
Yes.
up, let's get it started with Jason and Ben. When it goes to the lyrics, what is that woman actually saying? Because
Don't
I
have
have
any
tried
idea.
to figure it out every damn time I hear the song, and I think it's in like Latin or Sanskrit or something.
Or it's just total gibberish.
Is
I
it?
put in the lyrics that get us to the chorus. And then that's just AI improvised riff. Now, I did have an acquaintance of mine who's in a local ska band here in the Baltimore, D.C. area, the Players Band, DM me and offer to re-record their version of the Wanna Bet song. So
I love it.
I don't know where that stands. I'm like, absolutely. As long as you keep the chorus. I just ask that you keep the chorus. So we may have a new version coming soon. So stay tuned for
Something
that.
gonna get it, something get it, something started. No,
I don't know. I have no idea. But it works,
right.
I guess.
It does.
It works when we're winning bets, not so much when we're not. So this is Wanna Bet. If you're new to the show, our buddy Eric Casillas joins us every Monday. We give you our favorite plays that we've made since yesterday's show. Yeah, yesterday, because we do this 7 days a week. Across all the sports that we're wagering in, we also show our work when we have good days, when we have bad days, when we have great days. We have not put on the bibs for a while now, and I have not had a great day for a while now. Look, I have had a lot of stuff go against me in the NFL. Sam Darnold only throwing 12 passes because, the Cardinals hand them 21 points early in the game, and literally Sam Darnold throwing 12 passes. I mean, I needed 40 yards out of Shaheed. He got one target. Like, you can't tell me if that's a normal football game. That's not in play. We got the 80 from Smith and Jigba immediately. We had Jackson Dart with a parlay to throw a touchdown pass. I feel bad for Jackson Dart. I hope he's okay. You can't tell me he didn't have a shot at throwing that touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. Instead it's Russ because Dart has the concussion. Had some other injuries go against us. And look, the Buffalo Bills absolutely screwed me. So we are down in perilous territory there. Barely, not even 4 units of profit since we launched on May 21st. I'm cutting back on the NFL. I am definitely self-scouting, trying to do some things differently. We're off to a good start in college hoops. We're off to a really good start in the NBA. The NFL, a lot of things conspiring against me. Beltway Ben, looked like you bounced back a little bit.
Yeah, the parlays dropped us a little bit. We still finished up a little over a unit. Each parlay we had lost by one leg. We liked the Bucks on the money line. That was the one leg to lose there. But we did say Ladd McConkey take his regular over, so that cashed to offset some of those. Jahmyr Gibbs cashed both props for us. We did cash the 9:30 kickoff parlay that we had in that game with Kyle Pitts getting the 30-plus receiving yards in the second half. So ultimately, we were up a little over a unit. Odunze cashed in the first half. Jawan Johnson cashed in the first half. Jahmyr Gibbs cashed one of his props in the first half. I'm thankful that they did try to get him to 100-plus rushing yards because that got us to the 15 carries that we needed. So it was good with the regular plays. The parlays brought us down a little bit. And I'll probably scale back a little bit on the parlays, probably try to keep it to 2 instead of 4 because that, like I said before, it brought us down way more than it should have.
Yeah, Bills not scoring 24 points and Bills money line killed me in 4 lucrative parlays. So, yeah, I'm with you. Got to self-scout. Got to be smarter. All of our picks, when we make them in real time in the Super Discord. If you're a Spotify, if you're an Apple bottomer, you listen on the Apple podcast, go to our Twitter bio or Eric's at Fantasy EK. All the link tree info for the Super Betting Discord, all the different ways you can get involved. or on that QR code, or again, go to our Twitter bios and click the link. All right, time to get it started for today. We're going to keep it easy. I'm going to go first. EK's going to go second. Ben's going to go third with this new operating system. Makes things a little bit trickier for us. So I've got 2 plays in college basketball to get us started. First, let's go to the Indiana State SIU Edwardsville game. Yeah, that's where we're going. And we're playing the over 157.5 minus 110. It's priced that way pretty much everywhere. Did we jump it at 156 in the Discord when it opened? Yeah, we did. And I expect it to tick up a little higher towards, excuse me, towards tip-off. Why do we like it? The Sycamores are 20-5 to the over, playing non-conference games since 2023. Those games have gone over on average by 9.6 points per game. They've gone over by 3 possessions per game over a pretty good sample size. Are they still playing the same brand of ball this year? Yeah, they are. A 76-92 game with Charlotte. They hung 110 on a D2 team. They're running and gunning. How about SIU Edwardsville? What's the story with them? Well, they're 14-8 to the over as a home favorite since 2023. They almost hung 80 on UT San Antonio. They hung 120 on a D2 team. I expect both to be running. I expect both to do what they do, which is score a lot of points and not play a lot of defense. And I expect this game to be played in the 160s. Would not shock me if both teams got to 80 themselves. We also love well, they're not really but they're kind of our UNC Wilmington Seahawks going to Kent State, winning outright, plus 136 on the money line. The Seahawks made the tournament last year, and if you watch the game, they gave Texas Tech all they could handle. They kept their backcourt. Williams and Hogan, a 6'5 guard and a 6'7 guard, they're back. And they added NIL kids from the CAA who already are in that conference, who are familiar with them, who play similar D and rebounding type ball. So you had a Christian May from Towson who won the regular season, and UNC Wilmington got by to get to the big dance in the conference tournament. Again, this is a team that went 27-8 last year. They're 13-8 against the spread out of conference since 2023. Kent State has no size. UNC Wilmington added a legit 7-1 kid from Virginia Tech who scored 21 and 14 in his first game with them. They have 3 6'11 kids who get minutes, and they added a 6'8 kid from Binghamton, Gavin Walsh, Loyola Blakefield, roll downs roll. 3 straight MIAA soccer tournament wins, by the way. 3 straight with 3 different coaches. MIAA soccer is big boy soccer. Kids going to UNC, kids going to Wake, kids going to Clemson. That's what we do at Loyola Blakefield, 3 in a row. Anyway, Gavin Walsh comes in, a 6'8 kid. He's going to give them more depth. Like, they had a higher KenPom rating last year than Kent State. I don't think it's going to be an overwhelmingly offensive, a home court advantage for Kent State. I think UNC Wilmington could be better than last year. Again, when they went 27-8. And I think their size and rebounding and second chance points are going to be a big problem for a Kent State team that has one true big, and he's a true freshman. First down, EK.
All right, I'm going to the game tonight, and that's going to be my theme throughout this show. And I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to go Jordan Love under his longest completion of 38.5 yards, widely available everywhere, pretty much at your standard minus $1.15. Green Bay cannot take the top off of you right now. Matthew Golden, not 100% healthy, and you can see the routes he runs. They're not necessarily just fly routes. They're trying to get him in crossing routes and that kind of stuff. Also, no Tucker Kraft. That's not the, hey, we can hit him and we can go down the field that way. Christian Watson just doesn't produce that much. I don't think there's a 40-yard completion for Jordan Love tonight. That's not what Green Bay does. That's not the game they call. That's not who they're trying to be. They're a little bit old school. It's almost like they're still 12% Vince Lombardi this year. And when you look at what they've done and what they've called, unless they get something fluky, it's not going to be over. And if you look at Philadelphia, typically, if they give this kind of play up, it's on a DPI, which does not cash against us. It's
Yep.
got to be an actual catch, not a DPI. So under 38.5 longest completion, Jordan Love.
Beltway, Ben.
Yeah, first down here, we're going to go to NBA. And we have two plays. I put both of these together just so we could get our NBA out of the way before we jump fully into the NFL. We'll start with Kristaps Porzingis. We like him over 1.5 3-pointers made at -130. Shop around, you can still find it there. He's facing a Clippers team that's allowing 16 3-point makes per game. That is the most in the NBA. Now, he's under this in 4 straight. And one thing to note there that definitely gives me a little bit of concern, since Trae Young's been out, he's been going under. That's been the thing. Trae Young is not finding him anymore, and Trae Young's going to be out a pretty long time. That being said, he's coming off of a game where he attempted 7, and you're facing a Clippers team that's allowing 40.4 attempts per game, which is the 4th most in the NBA, tied for the 4th most. I think the opportunities are going to be there for him. He wants no parts of playing inside. We know Porzingis' game. He's going to stretch it out, and with the way that the Clippers defend, especially with no Kawhi, I do think there will be a number of opportunities for him to knock down some threes. 2 is not too much of a number for me. Like 3-pointers are tricky because, again, like you don't, every time you're looking, you're hoping your guy did it because as the game gets longer and longer, if they're up late, they're not chucking, they're going to the free throw line, it's not points. 3-point bets are always tricky, but 2 for me, for a guy that likes to jack outside and just sit there, I'm good with that. So I like Kristaps Porzingis over 1.5 3-pointers made. Then the other
Real quick,
outside.
I think Danny Jansen likes to jack outside as well.
Well, no, Reese McGuire, right? Reese McGuire. Sorry. Yes.
Reese McGuire. Wrong. No lawyers. Allegedly. Yeah, wrong Blue Jays catcher. I knew Beltway Ben would know.
No,
Jacking outside.
As soon as I said jack outside, I knew something was coming. But yeah, he likes to jack outside. And you also like the cum bucket.
Air. It's that time of year.
The cum bucket and jacking outside. This show is always good. We bring it.
Was it Jim Bob Cooter? Was it Jim Bob Cooter at the Wendy's with his pants down?
I'm not
The
sure.
fact that we don't know because it happens so often. I mean, what is the Wendy's like in your town?
Well, Beltway Ben, not to get too far, Beltway Ben did an appearance at a Wendy's near us, and it got off the rails. Everybody kept their pants on, but Beltway Ben was breaking up fights. He had to escort people to their parking lots. He should have got paid way more than he did. And in full disclosure, I'm really glad after the fact that I handed that opportunity off to Beltway Ben because I would have gotten a fight.
No, 100%. It was a real experience. I'll just say that. We're gonna go.
Now I got to Google Jim Bob Cooter while you're doing this because I got to make sure we get the right person. Allegedly.
Well, here we're gonna go to Cade Cunningham over 4.5 rebounds at -135. He's facing the Wizards, who allow more rebounds than anybody else in the NBA. They're chucking threes, which means we're getting a little bit longer rebounds. We don't need Cade under the basket, sticking around there. They're going to shoot the long three. Those usually result in run-out opportunities, and Cade is always trying to grab as many boards as he can. He was over this in 6 of his first 7 games of the season. Now, I will also throw choppy here. We're going choppy on a triple-double.
Nice.
Plus 1,500 for a triple-double. Just a half-unit play. Nothing big. If it cashes, it's good. If not, we will still finish up a half unit because I don't think 5 rebounds should be any issue for Cunningham.
Jim Bob Cooter, different incident. Allegedly. But you can Google that. He had an alleged incident. Joe Cullen is the Wendy's guy. My bad. Joe Cullen is the Wendy's guy. Just want to keep it all on the up and up.
Yeah.
I guess we better lawyer up, Beltway Ben.
Yeah.
It's time to lawyer up. Okay. Second down?
Yep. Yeah, you're second.
Thank you, Beltway Ben. I believe EK and I are of a simpatico situation here.
I'll be
okay. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. This was as high as plus 135 a few days ago. It's coming down, but plus 125 is still a lot of value. I don't need to belabor the point, right? He does this. Like, it's what they do. It's how they finish drives. They were wearing down a little bit before the bye. You heard some O-linemen complaining about it. Well, now it's a NFC championship type environment on the road against a good defense, but a defense that, if you look at when they give up rushing touchdowns, they're mostly in the goal-to-go variety. Who gets those opportunities? It's Hurts. They're coming off a bye. The Eagles are totally refreshed. And if you recall, Roger Goodell's campaign to rid the world of the tush push, Who became the NFL team embodiment of that? Who actually wrote up the proposal and brought it to the owners on behalf of Raj? You got it, Mark Murphy and the Green Bay Packers. Come on now. I know narrative, not narrative. Is Sirianni petty? Hell yeah. Is this going to be a tight, low-scoring game and you got to keep it simple, stupid, and make the main thing the main thing? I would say probably if you want to lean to Hurts attempts, because you think, like me, maybe they win the game and there might be a couple kneel downs there, and they go tush push anytime it's like 3rd and 3 or less, you can jump on that too. But for the plus 125, I think I speak for all of us, right? Does this not feel like something that Sirianni has planned for tonight?
I think you're right, and I'm with you. And that's my second down as well. Everything you said, I agree with. And I like when you said that Nick Sirianni is petty. Like, he's more petty than Tom Petty. And I like that about him and an NFL coach. You know what I mean? You got to stick it to the other guys sometimes. And they're going to want to stick it to Green Bay. It's good value. If I see a plus with Jalen Hurts to score an anytime rushing touchdown, I'm in, especially in this environment, on the road. Gimme, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you guys there. I know you guys were giving it out, so I just said I'd throw meatball on it and play that. Here, we're going to go to Romeo Doubs, who I really like tonight. Romeo Doubs over 52.5 receiving yards and over 4.5 receptions. Now, anybody who watches this show usually knows I don't play guys that have gone over it in like 4 straight or so many times in a row. But here for Dobbs, I just don't see who else is getting the football. Christian Watson's back, and the ability to beat teams over the top should scare Philly a little bit, and they're going to have the safety help. They're going to be trying to defend that. Romeo Doubs should eat underneath all night. He's over this in 4 of his last 5. We know the chemistry between him and Jordan Love. We see it on big-time downs, big third downs, third and longs in the red zone. He usually goes to Romeo Doubs. It's been his guy. Now, Romeo Doubs had a lot of off-the-field stuff last year, and he seems to be in a good spot mentally this season. He's been very happy on the field. We've seen him showing a lot more emotion on big catches, which we didn't see as much last year. So I do think Romeo Doubs is in a good spot, both on and off the field, and he should have a lot of success tonight against a Philly team who hasn't been amazing against opposing quarterbacks and opposing wide receivers. I think it's going to be a lot of underneath stuff for Doubs, letting him make some plays, and 5 receptions and 52.5 yards are correlated, basically. I mean, if he goes over 5 receptions, then there's no way I don't see him going under 52.5 receiving yards. So again, for the listeners.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
The listeners, Doubs over 52.5 receiving yards, and then the 4.5 receptions, both at minus 110 or minus 105.
And they may jack a few up outside to him as well. Line him up on the outside and jack it outside.
You could always jack it up.
It's
athletes, celebrities, they all do it.
By the way, are you also allowed to jack it inside, or are we only jacking it?
I mean, we definitely need allegedly in there. I don't know about that. That's a wide net, brother. We good? Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
No jacking outside over here.
Nope. Third down. Give me the Eagles on the money line plus 102. They've won 8 of their last 10 on the road. They've averaged 29 points a game in doing so. They protect the football. I remember when Jalen Hurts was getting rammed and reamed and called names because he protects the football too much. Well, this Green Bay defense really kind of needs turnovers, and I'm not sure they're going to get them tonight. I don't buy anything about Green Bay's offense right now other than Josh Jacobs is a funnel, but I don't know. I mean, they only mustered 10 points against these guys in the playoffs. They have difficulty sustaining anything offensively. I'm well aware that Green Bay hasn't lost back-to-back games at Lambeau, but 2 times since 2018. And I know they're coming off an ugly loss against Carolina. But I also know that the Eagles off a bye are really good. I know the Eagles this season are 6-0 when they score at least 20 points, and I think it's going to be difficult for Green Bay to hold them below that with the offensive line a little healthier now, with everything that the Eagles have added at the trade deadline, plus getting healthier on defense and no Kraft for Green Bay. And, what's the main thing with Green Bay's passing game? Do they even have, is there a main thing? What do they default to? What's the go-to when the shit hits the fan? I can't figure it out other than run it with Jacobs or throw it to Jacobs, but I don't know that that's going to work against this Eagles team tonight. Nobody was more bullish on Green Bay over the summer than I was. But they're very familiar with Micah Parsons, or the Eagles. And I just think the Eagles are starting to strut their stuff a little bit. And you're giving me plus money here. Even if it's a little bit of plus money, I'm going to take it. Third down, EK?
I like what you said when you quickly threw in about Josh Jacobs. My best play in this game is Josh Jacobs to catch 3 passes. One thing I noticed is the air yards to Tucker Kraft is much lower than people think. I'm not going to bore people with a bunch of statistics, but just suffice it to say I've done the research, assume I've thought it through. When they throw it to Tucker Kraft, they throw it short and say, go break some tackles and figure it out. So I looked at when Tucker Kraft isn't playing or before he became sort of this major thing. And what they want to do instead is they're going to use Josh Jacobs as the, here you go ahead, find a way through it. This is a perfect spot for Josh Jacobs to have one of those games where you look back and go, wow, why did he catch 5 passes? Wow, why did he catch 6 passes? Because this is exactly the game script, the game plan, and what they're going to have to do in this game. He's going to be the guy that they're going to throw the ball to. This, to me, is a gift. It's going to move to 3.5 any second. At some point, the juice is going to get out of sight. I grabbed it yesterday in the morning and put it on the Super Discord and said, get this now because it's not going to be around later. I'm also going to put this into my same game parlay tonight, which I'm going to give out in a few minutes. But to me, the best play on this game is Josh Jacobs to catch 3 passes. You know, I've sort of gotten away from doing yards with running backs because I've gotten burned on guys catching passes for negative yards and hurting me, right? I mean, that's happened to Ben, too, with Travis Etienne, I remember a couple of weeks back. So I like to focus on catches, not yards with running back. And to me, Josh Jacobs is the play.
I'm on that as well as part of a parlay that we will get to in a minute. Third down, Beltway, Ben.
We're going to Jalen Hurts, keeping a common theme tonight. We're going to go over 27.5 rushing yards at minus 110. He was over this in 3 of his first 4 games this season, and since he's been under in 4 straight. Now, Green Bay's defense, the one quarterback they face that can run is Jaden Daniels. That was a weird game earlier in the season, and they did a fine job keeping him kind of in the pocket and doing those things. But I think Hurts is going to take off a lot with his legs tonight. They're coming off of a long break. He should be fully healthy, 100%, no banged up injuries or anything like that. So we should see him running the football enough. Now, you could tell me Micah Parsons is there and the difference he makes. Micah Parsons is one of the NFL's best defenders, maybe the best in the NFL. With that being said, he will cheat down on Saquon sometimes and shoot down hard to try to make a play in the backfield, to which Jalen Hurts can get outside and have a big run. I do expect him to have a long run today, which we'll get to in my 4th and long. But to me, I just think in this situation, it should be somewhat tight. There will be a few tush pushes, and I think he's going to have one of those long runs that he can make. If they do get the pressure that we've seen Green Bay get, Jalen Hurts is not afraid to use his legs and run forward and pick up some yards. I think we could see that a lot tonight. They'll probably take away some of the deep shots to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. With that being said, if that happens, Jalen Hurts should be running the football. And his number 7.5 for attempts, I was considering going that, but instead I just went with his rushing yards because in every game that he's going over 7.5 attempts, he's over the rushing yards in all but one. So again, Jalen Hurts over 27.5 rushing yards at minus 110.
Yeah, I think his legs are going to be a big factor in this game. I feel you, Beltway, Ben. 4th and short for me. We're doing a half-unit play. Late, great Choppy, the legend, R.I.P. We're going to go Dallas Goedert first half touchdown. I don't love these markets. You guys know I don't play a lot in these markets. The people who win 1 of every 10 in these markets and then crow about it like they've won you some real money when they're throwing darts all the time in these markets, buyer beware. But there are some trends here that are hard to ignore. There's only 2 people in the National Football League who have more first half scrimmage touchdowns than Dallas Goedert. And they're guys who see a hell of a lot more of the ball than Dallas Goedert. Jahmyr Gibbs, generational touchdown machine since he came in the league, and Jonathan Taylor, who people are telling me should be an MVP candidate. He shouldn't be an MVP candidate, who has a ton of touchdowns. Dallas Goedert's got a first half touchdown in 4 of the last 5 games. He has 5 total first half touchdowns in that span. Green Bay is not good against tight ends. They allow a 113.5 passer rating against tight ends. That's 23rd in the league. 5 passing touchdowns to no picks against tight ends. You complete 78% of your passes throwing to tight ends. Beltway Ben talked about, not giving up the easy stuff. Well, it's not really the deep stuff, not giving any easy deep stuff to the Smith and Brown, who both should be healthy for this game. The underneath guy is Goddard. The guy in the seam routes is Goddard. The guy, when you blitz him in the red zone and the quick hot, a lot of times lately, especially early in games, it's been Goddard. So for plus 550 for the Spotifyers and Apple Bottoms, yeah, we'll make a half unit play here on Dallas Goddard to score a touchdown in the first half. If it's not the tush push, it might be him. EK, fourth down.
I'm going back to old reliable, and you know this is the one I love, right? I mean,
I know where you're going.
Like, yeah, I'm like a lobster. I mate for life, you know what I mean, with this thing, and it's under 24 and a half in the first half. The number is 23 and a half at FanDuel. Okay, most places are 22 and a half. There are some 23 and a halves. But once you find the 23 and a half, then you go to the alt line and you buy up the point, because 24 is the most key number in the first half. Because to get over 24, you have to have either 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals or 4 touchdowns. Now, you're typically going to get about 9 drives in the first half. Yeah. So you have to score touchdowns on almost half of them, or I'm going to cash this. And I don't see this with Green Bay and Philly. I just don't see him getting there. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, we're going to have like a kickoff return for a touchdown, a defensive touchdown, a turnover deep in our own end. If we don't get a couple of
blocked
those,
field goal for a touchdown.
Right. We're gonna have to have some weird things go against us. So I can get this right now at $1.54. I don't like to lay that much juice. I don't mind $1.20. I don't mind $1.15, even $1.30 if I really like it. But I'll go this high for this prop only. I think that makes it a 61% implied percentage. I think this is almost 70% that it will come under. So I see us having about an 8 or 9% edge over what we're paying. I think this comes through. I like it, and it'll cash for you in the first half.
Sweet. Yeah, I think it's an under game overall, unless we get the bullshit, which sometimes happens. Happens to me quite a bit this year. Fourth down, Beltway, Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to fourth and long. We're going to go with Jalen Hurts' longest rush, over 12 and a half yards. When EK comes on and he talks about the parlays and he always says he wants to tell a story, I always like that, but it's similar for me with plays. Like, if all of the numbers that you're looking at point you in one direction, I usually stick with those plays that go together. Now, Jalen Hurts, he's over his rushing yards in 3 games this year. All 3 games that he's been over, he's also gone over the longest rush, 15, 18, and 29. To me, if he's going to go over those regular rushing yards, he's going to go over his longest rush. So I'm sticking those 2 together. I talked about it before. The Packers haven't faced many teams who have running quarterbacks. Now, I said it before, that Thursday night in week 2, they faced Jaden Daniels. That was so long ago. Jaden Daniels, early in the season, didn't run as much as Jalen Hurts, I think, will tonight. Hurts has also been quicker to run in some of these situations. They're going to run a little bit more option plays, things like that. And this will be 1 through 4 quarter type game to me. So it's going to be at all moments in this game. It's a 1.5 point spread. Now, could a team win by 2 scores? Maybe, but I think it'll be a pretty tight game to which we're going to see Philly running their regular offense the entire game. We could possibly get overtime in a matchup like this. I'm not counting on that, but even if we were, that would be even better for us. I do like Jalen Hurts' longest rush over 12 and a half yards at plus 102. It's 11 and a half in some spots, but to get it for plus money, I took 12 and a half.
Excellent. I don't know if that was my Ethernet that cut out for a second, and I don't understand why it would, but hopefully that didn't glitch too bad. Okay, we will wrap it up here with overtime again. Football or football parlays every day this time of year. I got 2. One's NBA, one is NFL. Not going to belabor this point. Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown and the over 2.5 receptions that EK was already on. You look at Philadelphia against running backs. 125.7 passer rating when throwing the running backs against Philadelphia. That is the highest in the NFL. Jacobs has 3 receptions or more in 5 of the last 6 games. What happens the last time these guys faced an elite pass rusher, or an elite, for me, pass rush potential defense? And remember, the Eagles have now added Jalen Phillips. Well, Jacobs got 9 targets against Cleveland, and that was with Kraft still playing. So now there's no Kraft. There's not really a main thing in the passing game for Green Bay, and you're going to have matchups on linebackers who Jacobs has been doing really well against. And then the anytime touchdown, look, he's got 10 touchdowns. He's got 8 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He basically averaged a touchdown a game since he's been a Green Bay Packer, and it's a Packers offense that doesn't have a lot going for it right now. So you can't tell me that they're not going to want him to finish drives. And then an NBA, so that's plus 165 there. Jacobs anytime touchdown, at least 3 receptions. Then in the NBA, we're going to attack 2 of the worst defensive teams in the league. Heck, just 2 of the worst teams in the league in general. The Pistons are playing the Wizards. We got the Pistons to score at least 119 points and to win by 7. Plus, the Lakers to beat Charlotte on the money line and the Lakers to score at least 114 points. The Lakers just laid an egg against Atlanta's G League team a couple nights ago. The Lakers have played 1 time since Wednesday. Once since last Wednesday. So J.J. Redick, plenty of practice time, plenty of time to get that fixed. The Hornets can get going and heat it up offensively enough that I don't think Redick's going to take his foot off the gas here unless he's in that 115 to 120 range. Again, he's got a point range, and they're allowing 100 plays in a bunch of different ways. He's got a point range, and they're allowing 100 plays in a bunch of different ways. The Pistons have the number 2 defensive rating in the Pistons have the number 2 defensive rating in the league. Like, if they don't win this game by 7 points, something's happening. I don't think Washington's going to be able to score the way they need to score to be competitive. The Wizards have played 2 teams, 1 team tough, and they played them twice. The Mavericks. Everybody else they played averages 133 points per game. I know it's back-to-back for the Pistons. I know they played last night, but they get to host Washington. They're in good form. Like, the Pistons to score 119 when everybody's scoring 130 except for Dallas on Washington, I'm good with. So for Spotifyers to repeat, Detroit Pistons minus 6.5 over 118.5 team points. Lakers money line plus Lakers over 113.5 team points plus 175 for that parlay. EK.
All right, I like to tell a story of my parlay, and I always think as a general rule, if you can come up with some sort of like cheesy tagline that explains your parlay, you're probably doing something right. So I almost went with Hurts so good and basically had a Jalen Hurts correlated parlay with a touchdown, his rushing yards, his rushing attempts, and all that. But instead, I went with a slightly another way, and I call it the trust fall. Like, trust yourself. I have 3 plays on this game I really like. And I'm going to trust that I'm going to go 3-0. And if I do, I'm hitting at plus 460. Number 1, game to be under 24.5 in the first half. Again, I think we're going to have some wild stuff to get 4 touchdowns in the first half. I don't see it. Number 2, Hurts anytime touchdown. He's getting in. Tush push somehow, some way. Bet on Nick Sirianni being petty and vengeful, which I like in a coach. Good for him. And Number 3, Josh Jacobs to catch 3 passes. All right, he should catch 3 passes tonight. There's almost no world where he doesn't unless he gets hurt or we get some crazy great game script. If we get anything close to a traditional game script, I think Hurts scores, Jacobs catches 3, and we don't have a crazy out-of-the-box first half. And that will pay plus 460. Give me all of that.
Nice, Beltway. Ben, bring us home.
Yeah, we got 2. We're playing just 2 parlays today. We're going to do 1 NFL and 1 NBA. We'll start in the NFL. Simple. Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown. Romeo Doubs 25 plus receiving yards plus 102. Jason just talked about Josh Jacobs. I mean, the Eagles are allowing touchdowns in 4 straight, or have allowed 4 straight rushing touchdowns. One of those was to a quarterback, Jackson Dart. I don't think that Jordan Love's stealing one on the ground here tonight. I think it will be Josh Jacobs. He's got 10 touchdowns on the year. Hasn't scored in just 1 game all season. I don't think that'll change tonight. Philly's defense is physical and all of that, but we know with Green Bay, they will try to force Josh Jacobs in, and he's a tougher back, can break some tackles. I like him to score. Romeo Doubs, 25 plus receiving yards. We broke that down earlier. Again, that will get you plus 102. Jacobs anytime touchdown, Romeo Doubs receiving. Now, here we're doing a 3-leg NBA parlay, plus 195. Cade Cunningham, 40 plus PRAs, points, rebounds, and assists. Kristaps Porzingis, 2 plus 3-pointers made, and Anthony Edwards, 20 plus points at plus 195. We're moving Cade around a little bit. We liked his regular rebounds, but instead here we're just going to take the points, rebounds, and assists. When you face the Wizards, we see guys go over these numbers all the time. Porzingis 2+ 3-pointers made. That was another play that we gave out. And then Anthony Edwards 20+ points, plus 195. Since he's come back, he's been really good. I wanted to add a fourth leg to this, but like yesterday we've lost one leg on a lot of these parlays we've given out, and I feel like we went one too many. We did Brunson 20+ points yesterday. I said he might not play in the fourth, but I thought he scored 20 in the first 3 quarters. Ultimately, he scored 19 and didn't play in the fourth quarter. It happens. It's not me, whining. It's just like sometimes you get unlucky and it's unfortunate. He couldn't get us one more point. So here we're just going with the 3 legs. Cade Cunningham, 40+ PRAs. Kristaps Porzingis, 2+ 3-pointers made. And Anthony Edwards, 20+ points at plus 195.
Please, Beltway Ben, let the people know what we've been up to here since we launched May 21st. EK, you want to let the people know about the Super Discord?
Sure. I'll go first to get out of the way. Basically, if you want all of our picks in real time in one place, just scan that QR code and you'll go right into our Super Discord. You get the advantage plays and every play that we make in real time. So we tell you where to bet it, how much to pay, what to bet, and we tell you to grab it now so you can get the best number and maximize your wagering dollar.
There it is. We'll be back tomorrow, I guess noon, Beltway Ben? Or you want to go earlier? Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, probably great. 11.
All right. Sounds good. Tomorrow at 11, we will see you again. Good luck with your wagers tonight. We know you want to bet, and we want to bet. Thank you for wanting to bet with us.